All right, guys, American Trucker here. Just kind of give you guys a quick little update. I am running and gunning out here. This was like my first year at Prime, so I definitely have a load lined up, ready to go before I even get to my drop off. Well, before I get to my drop off. Sometimes almost 24 hours before, just depending. So I like that. Now everything's got to go well. I got to make sure I make my drop off, but so far I have been on time for every delivery at the shipper or at the receiver, and every pickup at the shipper. So everything is good. I got out of Florida. Again, I got to kind of continue to revamp some of these strategies as I go, and that's just the way. Sometimes you got to pay to play. You got to pay for education. So. I'll go back down to Florida pending the situation, but each time I'll navigate that a little bit better. There's good paying loads that go into Florida. Don't get me wrong. You just got to have a good solid strategy coming out. And if you watch my other video, I talked about definitely being fuel efficient. You should always be fuel efficient. But if you're ever going to take a roll the dice or something like that on a load, getting in and coming out or whatever, you got to tighten up on all the other stuff just to make sure if it doesn't work out for you, you don't take too hard of a hit. But anyways, I'm in Connecticut now. I'm picking up and I'm taking this load down to Georgia. My trailer has broke down 3 times on me. 3 times. The one I'm leasing. So I told her, the woman that I leased it from this last time, if it breaks down again, I'm bringing it back and I'm getting another one. But so here's real quick what happened on that. When I first brought the trailer home, very first brought the trailer from the place where I was leasing it from, back my first week, this is my second week now, a seal blew out. So I had that fixed, took a load up north, and it started leaking again. I was able to kind of get through, check the levels and stuff. You can see the little side glass, see where the level is at. I was able to get through a few more days, and it completely went out on me again. Well, that time I called Love's, and they had one of their mechanics come out and fix it. So he fixed it. I was in between loads. None of these stopped me from getting to a receiver or shipper on time, by no means, somehow. So I just had extra time. And if you watch my previous videos, months ago, I did one about getting there to your destination as quick as possible. And if anything happens, you wait on the back end. You don't wait on the front end and then try to get there at the last minute. If you got 10 hours to get there and 2 days to get there, you drive all 10 the first day, as far as I'm concerned, and then you wait on the back end, once you're already there. But anyways, I had time on these loads because I don't sit around doing nothing. If I got a load and I got time, I'm running. But anyways, so I had time between all the loads. But the loads guy come out and fixed it, and then 2 days later it started leaking again. Now, none of these times I paid for this, luckily. But the last result was that I went into a Love's truck stop at a different location, and they said that the last Love's mechanic in a different state used RTV sealant instead of an actual gasket and whatever. It got fixed. I didn't pay for any of it. The leasing company paid for all of it, or the last one, Love's actually paid for it because one of their mechanics came out and screwed it up. So it was their bad, so they covered it. So I broke down 3 times technically with this trailer. I haven't paid for any of them, and it hasn't caused me any money at all or any time. I had them all fixed during my breaks, or this last one I had fixed, I stopped by en route to my destination. I stopped by Love's and had it fixed, but I still made it to where I was going on time, so there was no issue there. Other than that, it's going well. Me and my dispatcher are, I feel like, at this point in time, we're starting to mesh a little better. Not that we were at odds is beforehand. It was just that it was probably more me than anything. I had a lot of questions, and I'm going through these questions, and as I go through them, I don't have to go back most of the time and re-ask the same question. I learn, but this whole process is new. And then her finding loads, me finding loads, and us trying to, put that together on, which load to take, and our strategy, her strategy versus my strategy, the way I like to run, her figuring out how I like to run, things like that. I look at loads sometimes and I don't have all the information or experience she has looking at them, so sometimes she sees things different than me. And sometimes I'm thinking, hey, why can I take this load? And then she'll explain to me, hey, because I called and you have to have a pallet jack and you don't have one, or it don't. I don't see when the drop off is sometimes on some of the loads on the load board, and she does or calls and it's too far out or something like that. So we're getting it kind of worked out, I feel like, and I'm asking a lot less questions, so I feel like I'm bugging her a lot less. And she says I'm not bugging her, and I'm sure I'm not. She knows it's a learning process, from me to her, from her to me, and her getting to know me and vice versa, professionally, as far as trucking goes. And we're just going through those, I don't want to say growing pains, but those, they're figuring each other out as far as that goes. But it's going smoother. Like I said, maybe because I'm asking a lot less questions, but it's going smoother so far. And not that it was going bad, it's just going better. And I'll see it continue to get better, I'm sure. And then that's about it. Going to Georgia. I got to go home for a day or two max. I don't really want to do that, but I have to take care of a personal issue at the house. So hopefully it just takes one day, then I'll be back out, and I'm staying out to the last week in March. It'll be the first time I take time off. I started 2 weeks ago, mid-February. Yeah, something like that. I started about 2 weeks ago, about mid-February, and I'm going to run 6 weeks right off the bat straight, and then I'm going to take a week off. That's spring break, and I think me and the wife and one of my daughters are going to go to the beach or something. She plans all that stuff out, so I just go home and pay the bills, and she tells me how much the hotel room costs and all that stuff. She plans it all out, plans the days out, where we're going to go, and that's fine with me. So I don't care about any of that stuff, to be honest with you. If I wasn't married, and I'm glad I am, and have kids or anything like that, but if I wasn't, knowing what I know about trucking now and how much money you can make in the right situation and the right setup, honestly, I probably would try to at least for 2, 3, 4 years straight. And I mean straight. And I mean live in the truck. If I want to do something on a weekend, call a rental car, have them come drop me a car off, go do whatever. I would live in the truck. I would sell everything, live in the truck, and in 3 to 5 years, I would save every bit of cash I could, and then set myself up, pay for a house. Well, this is 2024. I don't know if you could pay for your house even when you saved every bit of your cash in trucking for 3 to 5 years now, but 2 or 3 years ago, you could definitely do that. 4 or 5 years ago. But anyways, you know what I mean. I would set myself up, and then, especially if I was a young man, especially if I was a 20-year-old making this kind of money, or the potential money you can make if you were to stay out on the road, OTR, with a good setup and a good company. And then, man, you could set yourself up in 10 years, from 21 to 31 years old. If a young man come out here, in my opinion, and did it right, which is extremely hard, especially when that money starts rolling in. If you did it right, I feel like 31 years old, the sky would be the limit on whether you even wanted to work at all or not. You could have so much stuff and have yourself set up so financially in a good position if you had a good mentor, a good trucking mentor, a good personal and financial mentor, a good investment mentor, which would fall on the financial part. If you had someone to kind of guide you through all that, and you were actually willing to do it, hopefully they knew what they were talking about, but if you were actually willing to do it, not just say it and then a year or two later change your mind, 10 years out here and you could really do some damage as far as having an early retirement, I believe. But that's not the situation for me. So I'm saving up for land. So that's why I'm out here. Um, and so far, I just can't complain, right? I really just can't complain, especially with the setup I got now, the way things are going. And we'll get into, like I said, and we'll figure out pay wise if it's going to be better. But I can almost guarantee you that's going to be better than 2023 was at Prime Trucking, and it wasn't bad. It wasn't bad. It's just I felt it really slowing down. It just started getting too lengthy, too long in between getting my next load. I was doing way too much sitting for me. I like to run and gun. I like to go, put the miles behind me, put the money in the bank, and keep doing it again. I don't like sitting out there between loads for a half a day, sometimes a day between loads, literally making no money, sitting in the middle of Missouri somewhere, Texas or something, in a truck. I mean, that's just... I know maybe it might have been cyclic. It may, it might have just been a cycle we were going through. I know the time of year it was coming up. I get that too. But the market all overall at Prime was just, I felt like it was going in the wrong direction. I wanted to go at least over the next year, and I ain't got time to waste. I can't be out here waiting for a year or two for freight at Prime to be more abundant, where you're not sitting so much. So, I hope people at Prime are doing well. I still recommend Prime for a brand new truck driver, just trying to get into trucking, get your CDO. And a lot of people love it and they stay there. It's not just a starter company, as people like to say. Anywhere can be a starter company, and then you branch off and get more experience or whatever and look into other jobs. But I didn't see anything bad about Prime by no means. And they have an excellent program, excellent staffing for the most part. I didn't agree with every single thing, the way they did things, but it ain't my company. The way it works in the real world is you go work for someone, they pay you, and if you're happy enough in the situation and the pay to stay there, then you stay there. If you're not, either complain about it and do nothing about it, or complain about it and do something about it and go somewhere else. That's how life works. Some people just don't understand that, but it wasn't terrible where I felt like I needed to leave. I just felt like I could do more, especially with all the sitting. The sitting was, as you can tell, I've been saying about 10 times now, the sitting was my main complaint toward the end there. And that was the main reason why I left Prime. And right now, it's just as fast as I can run. I mean, it's as hard as fast as I can run. You're at the mercy of the load board, so to speak, but the load board is paying more than I was making at Prime, and I'm getting a higher percentage than I was making at Prime. There's some of my bills are higher than they were at Prime as well, my expenses, but overall, the other ones are outweighing, my insurance, for example, going up compared to what I was paying at Prime, but, things like that. So, we'll see. My main thing is I like to be pointing a finger at me if I'm sitting at home too much, not making any money, not pointing the finger at someone else. If I fail, I like to because I failed. I don't like to have anybody to point the finger at. And if you're at Prime, the loads will slow down, and they won't be making enough money, and then they'll just start pointing the finger at Prime, and everything's terrible Prime. Well, that goes back to what I'm saying is, if that's the way you feel, stop pointing the finger and do something about it. Right? If you're okay with it and you can weather the storm or the downtimes or the freight market where it slows down, or Prime's freight where if it slows down and it's not one after another like it was a couple years ago, if you're okay with that and you can financially afford that and you like the setup you got, then wait it out. It will come back. But I just needed to move on. That's all it was to me. Nothing personal to do with Prime. So I probably said that in some of my other videos as well, but I just want to make sure I make that clear. I'm not downing Prime in any way. That's it. Other than that, I like it out here. I know this video is getting long. I'm looking at the time. It's almost 15 minutes, but dry van is so much different. When it comes to loading and unloading, I mentioned this in my other video too, I believe, but man, it's just a night and day difference. And everyone seems nicer so far. And I've only been doing this for 2 weeks. I've run into one person maybe that was grumpy or whatever, but I swear everybody in refrigerator freight, where I went to at least anyways, all these distribution centers and stuff, and it's like half the places you went, either the person you checked in with, a shipper or receiver, were just in a terrible mood and talk to you like, you know, you're 12 years old or something. Or the security guards, these are only like a half of them. Security guards would be on power trips trying to order you around and stuff. Like I was back in the military. I about lost my mind a couple of times on some of those security guards coming in there and trying to lock me up, put me at parade rest, make me do some push-ups if they go before they let me through the gate or something. That's the way they acted. They started acting like a combination between a drill sergeant and a state trooper or something. Many a times I'm just like this close to snatching someone up, but I realize, hey, I still need to get through and get my product unloaded or whatever. They go tell me to wait in the bullpen. Someday may never come. They get all butt hurt or something because you tell them, you know, you put them in their place. Now, a couple of times, it just pushed me past that point, and I did have to. Nothing bad, but people sometimes will just push you as far as they can and just keep pushing you, just see where your limits are. I've had that happen a couple of times. That's for security guards. Like, I know they're frustrated. I know they deal with a lot of angry truckers that come in there angry as well to begin with, but 99.9% of the time, even if I'm in a bad mood, I go and approach the receiver, the shipper, the security guards, and I say, yes, sir, yes, ma'am, right off the bat, and I'm completely respectful because I know that they might be in a bad mood, and I'm trying to avoid the back and forth. So I usually try to kill them with kindness right off the bat, so they don't come at me crazy-eyed and it just get out of proportion, get out of hand. And then a lot of times that works. You can tell they're frustrated, but there's been a couple times where they start ordering you around and stuff and talking crazy, and in your head you're like, bro, you say something like that to me one more time and I promise you I'm gonna snatch you up. And then most of them, like I said, I let it go, but there's been times where I had to, like, hey, you're done talking to me like that. That's enough. So we're going to straighten this out real quick if you don't stop talking to me like that. And then they stop. The few times that's happened, as soon as you lay the law down, say that's it, you're done, then they're done. So you got to watch some of these security guards. You can't let them run over you. You can't let other truckers in the truck stops run over you, especially some of you young guys. You see an old crusty guy like me with gray in his beard and stuff. Been out here, I haven't, but like some of them been out here for 30 years and they got bull horns on the front of their truck and all that stuff. Trust me, they'll try to just run right over top of you and they will if you let them. So you ain't got to be out there fighting people. I'm not saying that, but you just can't let people run over you. And you just start practicing it and you'll get better at it as you get older and mature and get more confident in what you're doing. But that's just, that's life. That's not just trucking. You can't let anybody just run you over, or they'll make a habit out of it and you'll make it a habit out of letting people run you over. So that's it, guys. I don't even know where I got off on that tangent. Apologize for that. This video is way too long already now. Overall, I give it an A. I was going to say A+, but I'll give it an A because there's definitely the room for more improvement. But switching over from Prime to what I'm doing now, which is just running my own truck, running off the load boards, and I'm interested to see and to give you guys a video on the pay so far, because all I've heard is you can't make money running off the load boards. You're going to go out there and fail. And I heard that when I first went to Prime. You're going to fail if you go to Prime. Then I went straight into leasing with my CDL. Oh, you're definitely going to fail. If you go straight into leasing, you don't know what you're doing yet. You got to be a company driver first. And then after the first year, I bought my own truck. Oh, you can't buy your own truck. You can't do that. You're going to be an owner operator. You'll fail and you'll make no money and you'll lose your truck. And then now here I am hearing, you can't run off the load board. You can't go out there and leave Prime and run off the load board. You'll be broke in a week. Load board ain't paying nothing. Spot freight's terrible. Well, everything so far up to that point, I hate it when people tell me I can't do something. You might not be able to. I don't know. But don't tell me I can't do something. You want to give me some advice. Help me gather information so I can make my own decision. I appreciate that. But I can't stand it when people tell me you can't do something because either they can't or they don't even know because they never even tried, or they did try and they didn't do it a smart way and failed, or undisciplined, way they, they have no discipline about the way they approached it, and it didn't work out for them, so therefore everybody else is going to fail as well. So all I'm saying is everything so far, people said don't do it, you can't. I did it, and I am, and I'm still doing it. So I don't want to throw numbers out there, but I don't see why so far, based off 2 weeks now of loads and the load board and looking at it every day, I'll save that. I'll have the proof. I don't even want to speculate. I was about to speculate and tell you about how much I think I can gross. But you know me, I don't like just talking about gross. I need to go into net. I need to go into expenses. What are you walking away with at the end of the day? So therefore, I'm not even going to throw a gross number out there on this video because it won't sound right to me, because that don't mean what you net. And you don't know my expenses now. If you're at Prime, you could kind of guess my expenses. But now that I'm out here, you don't know my expenses. So therefore, I don't even want to throw a gross number out yet. But once I can give you from a gross to a net and everything in between, then I'll do that. And I'll do that probably in the next 2-3 weeks. I'll do that before I go on vacation, which will be the last week in March. I'll make a video about pay in general out here. So that's it, guys. If you haven't subscribed, I haven't said this in many of my videos, if you haven't subscribed, do that. Like the comment, or like the video, or unlike, doesn't matter. But definitely leave a comment if you got any kind of questions. I will try to answer them. If you ever watched any of my videos before, and if you've ever commented before, I've answered you back. If anybody hasn't, leave that comment in there. But I guarantee you, I've answered 100% of the people back that leave comments on there, or at least like it or do something to show that I read it, and or appreciate your feedback and comment back. So that's it, guys. American Trucker, I'm out.